Hello! In this video, more wiring, or rather rewiring of my DIY EV. Not as much progress as I would like. It's Manchester, it's winter, no great surprises, it's raining a lot, and it's flipping cold as well. But I have managed to get out a few times, got some trimming, got some painting done, and got that new relay / fuse board pretty much in the car, as you will see. You'll also see I say right a lot. Right. First things first, at the end of the last video I removed the old fuse and relay board from inside the car. I'm now going to strip it down and use that as a template to work out where I need to trim my existing blank. So now we can compare our two boards and make the appropriate adjustments. As you can see, based on my original pattern, I did a lot of fettling. I'll probably go for matching to there. I'm not going to replicate this hole because I don't want anything going down through the board that stops it being lifted up. And same here, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do, maybe a slot, something that allows cables to come in and go under, but so that this can just be lifted out and unplugged with just the fuse connections and the power connections underneath. We can see that doesn't interfere with the holes that I've cut. Those things should still sit quite nicely. Right, as you can see, it's a pretty good fit now. Couple of areas. Note down here, it looks like there's an extra big space that I've cut out here, but it's because I want it to sit quite low so things will fit in, and it will foul on these little plastic projections here if that bit isn't taken out. It's still a bit tight, notably here on this little projections, little plastic projections, if you can see there, and also still here on this one. So I need to take a little bit out of this corner, a little bit out of this corner, and then it should all fit nicely. Right, I've made some more tweaks. You can see here, I've taken out a little chamfer there, a little corner there, a little corner there. Those now fit. Might take a little bit more off this one just to keep it even, but it's now stuck up here on these little plastic protrusions here, as you can just about see. So I shall trim a little bit more out. Right, last few tweaks, and that's looking pretty good. Fairly decent gaps around relevant places. Up here it sits quite nicely down below those bits. It's only resting on the wires now, and a little bit of friction on the rubber in a couple of places, but that's okay. It'll help to secure it and keep it stable. So it sits quite nicely. Next step is to get it painted. Deliberately put that on nice and thick. Not the best spray technique when you're doing it left-handed while holding the camera with your right. But it means it's should seal, which MDF's a nightmare for. And it's filler primer, so I can rub it back a bit and hopefully get a nice smooth surface. After 2 coats of filler primer, a good rub down and 2 coats of black, I haven't lacquered it yet because I'm not sure it's fully final, it's ready for reassembly. So I've just been out to test this in the car to test fit it, and realised I'd actually mounted the fuse box too far this way, and so that while it fitted there was no room for the cables to come out, particularly with the spade connections that are going to go on there. I could have maybe tried to get some right angle ones to save some space, but instead I've just shuffled it down this way a little bit. It doesn't look like I've got it perfectly straight, but increasingly realising this is going to be another sort of beta version, and at some point I will get this laser cut so it's all really nice and straight when I've got a final template to work to. So I've moved the fuse box this way about 12-14 millimeters to give a bit more space, maybe slightly more, and I've also relocated the pin for the the 12 volt supply, the high current supply, into the relays. That does mean that the wires I've cut aren't exactly the right length, but they'll look neat enough. It does mean that the actual jumper cables from these sort of transfer points that come through here from the relays out to the fuse box are going to be quite short in places, which could be a bit tricky, but I think I can probably work that out. So yeah, not perfect, few extra holes, but like I say, at some point I'll be doing this again, and then I can get a couple cut for this project and maybe future projects. Right, the sun has made a brief appearance, so time to make a bit of progress, getting outside while I can. Right, so I've done a bit more wiring on this board. The green wires you can see there are the trigger wires for the 3 relays, and they now go off to this plug, along with an earth wire, ground wire. The main 12 volt supply. I've put these two, there were 2 wires, I couldn't actually get these spade terminals out of here, I only wanted one really, but I'll put them both on and then just join them up at the other end. And I've also run the loop back, so you can see that from here, which is so this is the run relay under here. The power of the run relay then loops back to the trigger for the run relay. And at the same time you can see that the run relay power does not come from the main power feed here, it comes from the on relay. So when the on relay is turned off, so when switched live is turned off, it will automatically turn off the run relay as well, even with this loop back. So now I'm just putting on the terminals for my trigger wires. So this is switched live from the original BMW loom. This is my new earth wire. The old one was massive and unnecessarily so put a new earth wire in, save some space. And this is the one that comes from a little loop back to the inverter, which puts it in start mode, which also triggers the run relay. Obviously one missing, there should be 3 trigger wires. I don't have my PP detect set up yet, again probably subject for the next video. Right, the rain hasn't held off very long, so I'm not keen to get the tripod out or anything, so I can't really film this very well, but I've just tested that with turning the position, key to position 1, whichever the 2, isn't it, which is everything on. This relay comes on, and when you turn it to ignition start, this one comes on, and when you turn it back off again, they both go off. So far so good, that's all working. Plugs look nice and neat, unlike the rest of this rat's nest. I've disconnected the battery again for now, because obviously there's a lot of loose terminals and stuff rolling around. Next step is to go through all this in a bit more detail and basically hook all these up to these new connections along here. So I'll have to extend a few wires, run around here. I say extend wires because I'm actually going to replace them all, and you can see that the amp seal connector on the inverter is a bit of a mess too. So I'm going to go in and replace that, and basically just can rewire everything as I go around and reorganise this with the new battery box, new high voltage junction box, charger relocated and inverter relocated. I'm going to rewire everything, but for now, just to get it back on the road, I'm going to go through, tidy all these up, install the PP detect for charging, and extend some of these wires and trim away the ones we don't need, so it's all neat and tidy. But that might be the next video.